Okay, hello everyone. My name is AWilcox, and I will be going over my internship with Warren County Sports Park this summer. I was an event planning intern. We started in mid-May, and I'm just now coming to an end to it. So I'll be taking you through the job description, the responsibilities, job training, skill development, and my overall reflections on how this internship will help me in my future endeavors, and really what I learned through my responsibilities. So for my job description and responsibilities, the first thing I was tasked with was creating a 2026 sports park master schedule. We have over 1.2 million guests each year, so while I can't show the spreadsheet as I would like to, just a little bit of privacy for the organization, I can't actually show that, but to give you an idea, there are 1.2 million guests each year, so that schedule is rather extensive when you have renters and organizations and third parties coming in and renting for tournaments or likewise other similar events, maybe not even related to sports park, like a concert. So really just building the schedule based on last year of who's coming back, and then people who show interest in filling in those slots based on interest and what the price point of each person and what they're willing to pay. And we also have to coordinate with the grounds crew of when they're going to be resting the field, specifically soccer and lacrosse, as those can take heavy damage. So blacking out certain dates and refiling interests of certain organizations and finding where their interest is going to be able to fit into for a weekend. So really my responsibility was set in mainly an office setting, and then some of it in an operation setting, which I'll get into here shortly. I also completed, after I completed that, my next project was completing a 2027 World Ultimate Frisbee hotel bid. So part of Warren County Sports Park is the tourism aspect, which is connected to the CVB. We have a handful of events that try and come into Warren County each year, so a lot of that takes place at the sports park. So the idea is to bring this major event into Warren County and host it at the sports park. But to do that, we have to create a bid to show that we have a certain amount of hotels, attractions, and other aspects and amenities that the organization needs to have. So I was tasked with creating the hotel bid, which included going around to 30 hotels and getting their information on how many rooms they would have for the select weekend and what their price point would be. So then once I had all that information, I put it together in a PDF document, neat, whatever, and then we were able to send it through to World Ultimate Frisbee with the whole package of what other people on the project were working on. Like I said, someone did amenities, someone did attractions, someone did field rental. My specific task was to work on the hotel section of it. My next project was to create an event percentage increase for each event to send to the renter. So when I created this spreadsheet, the idea was just to see for each weekend, because certain weekends do share more interest than others. So the idea was for 2026, when we raise our prices, we kind of just have to go back year by year and see, did we raise by 4%? So we're going to raise by 4% again this weekend, while other weekends are a little more costly just due to the nature of the weekend. Example, Labor Day, Memorial Day, both a little more expensive than others, so those percentage increases were a little higher for those organizations. And oftentimes organizations that are loyalty and have been here for 4 years now aren't going to get as much of a price increase. We're going to go on. Next, I created a renter information sheet for each organization. So what this looked like was going through the master schedule and pulling. We had about 15 renters for baseball this year. Those operate on an hourly basis. Typically, we see those in the weeknight slots. So going in to the master schedule and pulling those, I guess you could say, time slots out and putting it into a renter agreement sheet showing the idea is you can send this to the renter saying, here's when you had your slots, here's your time, your field, how much you're paying, do the lights need to be on, because while we don't actually charge for the lights, that's just something that some of the renters do expect. If it's 8 p.m. kind of sunset hour, some of them do want that on, so kind of just including, are the lights going to be on? So through that together for 15 organizations, and was able to send that contract to them. And then that kind of summarizes my office portion of responsibilities. On the weekends, I would work the tournaments with a 4 to 5 person staff. This included setting up game fields, managing the contract requirements through the renters, which means kind of dealing with their needs of what our contract requires us to do, like putting out fields, signage, logistically bringing in their equipment for the weekend, and then other field maintenance work that needs to be distributed. Okay, we'll move on. Job training and skill development. My job training was by a supervisor for weekend operations. He's been there for 5 years. We had about over 400 games over 2-day periods for most weekends. So I worked with him extensively over weekends, which helped with kind of an operational management standpoint. And then Excel training from a manager was my office work. My skill development was pretty great. I met with the City of Mason Parks Department. They showed me around their facilities and kind of gave me an idea of what they do, which gave me a better idea of how to get a hotel bid together during the Ultimate Frisbee part. And I also met with the head of the Cincinnati Sports Commission. He had just recently taken the job and was gracious enough to speak with me for 30 minutes and kind of gave me a rundown of what his job was. So very interesting skill development that really helped kind of broaden my perspective on not just the sports park as a whole, but also tourism in Warren County and Cincinnati as well. My job supervision, the project approvals of the main projects I did was by the head of sports tourism, which is my office work, and then operations, of course, is weekend only. Reflections. What did I learn? Legal contract work, of just covering your bases and making sure each renter knows what they need to do. Tourism bids, event planning logistics, operations management, just a handful of new skills. How does internship help me in future endeavors? I have new skills added to my resume, which opens up new potential job opportunities I didn't have before. And then the new connections also have new potential for job opportunities. That goes back to the skill development I was talking about. Just knowing people in the industry that I want to work in is beneficial, and having those new skills on my resume is also beneficial, especially to a magnitude of the sports park that's almost 300 acres, has 1.2 million guests each year. It kind of gives me a broader perspective on what event planning actually looks like and the logistics it takes to putting into just an event for the weekend, but also the behind the scenes of almost like a legal part of what you need to have to run an event. So thank you for watching. That was my event planning internship for Warren County Sports Park this summer.